Hey guys, how's it going? So today we're going to be planting a couple of new shrubs out on the new property, but I thought we would start here in the greenhouse because it's so windy outside. I wanted to really talk through all the details of these shrubs when they're not blowing around everywhere. And here they are. So on the left we have the black lace elderberries, zone 5 through 7. They grow 6 to 10 feet tall and wide is what the tag says. Ours get bigger here. They really like it here. I mean, they can get upwards of 12, maybe even a little bit bigger than that, tall and wide. We're just getting past the bloom season here, so we do have some footage though. We went to our neighbor's house. It's right on the end of our lane when theirs were in their full glory. They're absolutely gorgeous. So they come out with these huge discs of a white and pale pink flowers that then turn into berries that the birds like. They do not make a mess, these plants don't. But the best part is that this is a really good alternative to planting a Japanese maple because you get that beautiful cut leaf foliage with the dark color, but they can withstand our full sun, our high pH, and all of that business. So this is just a go-to shrub for us in this area if you have the space for it. They are very, very much so shrubs that even if you cut them down to the ground, they'll still grow almost to their full size every single year. Then we have this one here. This is a Tiger Eyes Cutleaf Staghorn Sumac. I have 3 of these to plant in a clump and 2 of these to plant. So let me show you the tag on this one. I'm super excited to talk about this plant because this is not like the traditional sumacs that you might be familiar with. I think sumacs overall kind of have a bad reputation in that the older varieties spread like wildfire. I mean, they just sucker everywhere. And if you have space to let a plant do that, then that's great. But this variety here has been bred to stay a little bit smaller, so it stays about 6 foot tall, 6 foot wide. It does sucker, but not as bad as the old varieties. So if you have space like we do out in the new property where I want it to have more of a free feeling, I want it to be more woodland-esque, I guess, and I want things to be able to kind of spread around a little bit, I think this is a perfect one because the color and the structure of this, they're absolutely gorgeous. So when they come out in the spring, they have very bright chartreuse leaves with pink stems. They've deepened a little bit now. So you can see the color now. It's kind of a light to medium green. Maybe on this taller stem, we can see, we might be able to see better color outside, but you can see they have more of that chartreusey look. They've got these pink stems, and in the fall, we'll have to put some pictures on the screen. There is almost nothing that can compare to the fall show that these provide. I mean, just bright orange, some yellow, scarlet, just absolutely gorgeous. And then once the leaves leave, their stems are fuzzy. Ooh, I don't know if we can see the detail there either, but they have very fuzzy, beautiful, very thick stems. So they're a zone 4 through 8, and they don't have any insect problems that I'm aware of. There's no insects in our area that attack sumacs, thankfully, and that's kind of what I'm going for out on this new property. I want to put things where I don't have to worry about managing so many different things. You know, closer to the house, I want to have lots of roses and lots of things that you have to pay a little bit more attention to. Out there, I want things to be beautiful and self-sufficient. So these you can prune in late winter to maintain shape. So if you've got branches you want to take out, like to make them a little bit more open, you can make them look like little trees, like really keep their trunks bare, which these, the 3 that I have that kind of shape already. So you can cut any growth from the bottom at that time of year, and it's just pretty easy. They also tolerate a lot of different types of soil situations, which makes it very nice for our area being so high pH. They can do urban conditions. They can do dry soils once they're established. They do need consistent water in order to get themselves established, pretty much like anything. Here, especially where it's so dry and hot, we have to really irrigate our things until they're very well established. But they don't like heavy clay soil. So they'll tolerate pretty much anything else. But you can kind of see the structure of mine right here if I move the tag. I could even cut away like the branch that's kind of hanging down because I want to have exposed branches like that. I'm just so excited for this plant. I'm just really looking forward to seeing the fall color. In fact, I think I would like to get a couple more for the other corner because I'm going to plant the 3 I have today in a clump, I think on the far side of the new property. And then I think if I got 2 or 3 more to put on the corner that's closest to our house, I think that would be nice to kind of mirror that fall color and the texture and all of that. And this is really, I don't think we've got any shrubs planted out there yet. So to get these 2 in will be so nice. And real quick, you can see in the back of the gator, I've got the other 2 sumacs. I've got the other black lace elderberry. I actually had 3 black lace, but we took one of them to our neighbor's house and planted it there. But they're so fast growing that if I decide to do like a trio, like I kind of had intended, we can go get another one at any point. I've also got all my other supplies. So my starter fertilizer, I've got the auger here. We're gonna try that out. The soil's pretty hard. I might need Aaron's help, but we'll see. And then I've also got drip supplies, so I'll show you that as well. So I think we'll just run out to the new property and kind of start placing them around. I have a general idea of where I want them, but not exactly. So I think we should just head out. Oh, the wind is the worst. It's so hard to place things and then run back real quick to see if you like the placement before they blow over. And these are incredibly top heavy, as you can see. So anyway, I'm gonna plant them in a trio right here. I'm not gonna even bother with setting them back up because they'll just fall right back over. Let me back up and show you what they are around, because it looks like they're kind of in an island of nothing right now, which is kind of true. There's not a whole lot going on, but this is the interior section. So there's gonna be a grass pathway that goes around here, and then the gators on it here, right to where I'm standing. And we've got a Scotch pine right there, which will grow enormous. Not super fast growing, so it's gonna take a while. Forest pansy redbud, so we have a really nice red colored tree here. Corinthian linden right there. There's a trio of spring grove arborvitaes in here, and then another Corinthian linden. In the back, we've got several trees on the other side of the walkway, but I just wanted to do a little grouping here because I think we'll see it straight from the house, and I think it'll be an eye catcher, especially in the fall. And then the black lace elderberries, I put those right over here. So let's walk the pathway real quick. We recently planted this blue sky Serbian spruce. There's another Corinthian linden. There is a red fox Katsura tree here and an autumn brilliance serviceberry there. So we'll put the two black lace right in there, and I may pop a third like back in here. So we've got kind of like an arc. In the end, it's not gonna really matter. We just kind of wanna pop whatever looks pretty and whatever catches our eye in this space. There's a lot of space to fill. So I think we have a lot of opportunity for some really beautiful things. You know what? I think I'm gonna move this one right over here for now because I don't want it to look like a grouping or a pair without a third, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna let these be like single specimens for now. This is usually why I like to place things and let them sit for a couple of days before I actually plant them, in case I make decisions like that. Okay, so we've got our tomatoes planted over here. There's a Katsura tree that gets massive. How about there? Yeah, I think that would look nice. There's a lot of green going on over here. It's kind of halfway between the Staghorn tree and the Katsura. I think we should go with that. Maybe bump it back though a bit. See how close it is to the pathway? It will reach the pathway for sure. And I want it to be not a border plant. It needs to sit back in the border a bit. Okay, I'm gonna get these planted. We're gonna use the auger. We're gonna attempt to use the auger out here anyway. When I was planting those tomato plants with the small, like 5-inch auger, it was all I could do to make those holes out here because it's so hard pan. So I'm gonna give this a try, and then we'll use some Biotone starter fertilizer, water them in really well, and then we'll take a look in the end. Here we go. planting is done. I'm so excited to have some shrubs out here. I think these are gonna be great. So the sumacs grow, like I said, 6 feet tall, 6 feet wide. So I spaced them roughly 6 feet apart from one another because I do want them to be a clump, and I actually want them to sucker a little bit. I mean, I don't want anything that's gonna take over like crazy, but I would like them to fill in this area. I think that would be a really beautiful kind of natural look to have a kind of a grove out here. I am planning on planting some meadow areas too, like a great big meadow area over there. We're gonna have meadow under the orchard trees, and then possibly some sections of just kind of natural growth out here. So I think that these will fit in beautifully. So let's take a look at them from this angle. Look at that, that's so pretty. We have roughly, I would say, about 7 feet from the trunk to the edge of the walkway here, or the pathway. So like this plant, not its suckers, but the mother plant, I guess you could say, will probably come out to about here. So we have space to do some other things in here, and I want to put like a smaller statured, like a crabapple. I kind of want a crabapple in here that'll bloom for spring. So I wanted to make sure to bump them far enough back to where I could still do that and not run into my other trees. Okay, black lace elderberry right here, spaced not perfectly. I didn't want it to be perfectly in between these two trees because I don't want everything to look so contrived out here, but it's roughly in the center. But I think that'll be a beautiful, big, blooming shrub. I love it. And then here is the last shrub for today. Oh, there's some quail. I can't wait till we have more trees and shrubbery and undergrowth so that we have more wildlife. Love it. I think that's going to be gorgeous. It will actually, from this angle at least, it'll block from our entryway. I kind of want to create a little mystery, so I want this to be very heavily planted. So when people, you know, drive in, they won't immediately be able to see toward me. In fact, I don't really want people to be able to see until they reach kind of our driveway. It'll open up big time, you know, toward the grassy area. And I want it to be about where the gator is, to where everyone can start seeing the flower garden. But I want this area just to be full of beautiful things. Okay, now I need to run drip. And this is exactly what I'm gonna be doing. Look at this, you guys. Oh, those are goat heads right there. I'm gonna be tapping into our 3/4 inch water supply line with 1/4 inch black poly. We just use a straight coupler. You pull that weed so you can see it right there. We come over here to a 1/4 inch T coupler, and then we make a ring of the brown drip tubing that's a 1/4 inch with emitter holes every 6 inches. So I'm just going to be ringing around each one of our shrubs. Got it all done. All the drip is run. So the drip will run day after tomorrow. We've been running all of our new trees out here every other day. So I will just be checking on these periodically. Our soil typically holds on to quite a bit of moisture, even though it looks dry as a bone on the top here. It does retain the moisture. I mean, you can see I finished watering this one a while ago, and there's still some standing water there in the little backfill hole. I'll also be checking, because it looks right there, that is a low spot. So I'll be checking to make sure over the next couple of days if there were any air pockets around the root ball. I'll just make sure to, you know, put a little bit more soil in there, and I'll tamp it in once the water kind of soaks in a little bit better. These are going to be so much fun to watch grow and fill in. I mean, every little thing we put out here, it makes me so excited for future years to see how this space is going to evolve. I mean, we've got the basic shape of the walkways and all of that already laid out, but in terms of planting, I don't want it to be highly designed. I want it to be more natural and more freeform, and leave the formality for up closer to the house. So both of these shrubs are just really good for a space that's a little bit larger. I mean, the black lace elderberry, you could cut it back every every single year and let it grow fresh from the base as kind of like a perennial, in which case you would keep it size controlled a lot better, but you would sacrifice blooms because it does bloom on old wood. So in order to enjoy those blooms late spring, you do have to leave the growth from last year. And I mean, you could make it an every other year sort of thing, and let it grow, excuse me, one year, don't cut it back the next year, enjoy the blooms, and then the next spring cut it back and let it do its thing over and over again so it never gets, you know, super big. But I just love when we can put something somewhere and just let it do its natural thing. Same with these tiger eyes, to put them out here and just let them sucker a little bit. I mean, planting them knowing that that's going to go on. I mean, there's some instances where you do want that to happen, and some where you do not. So, you know, if that is a variety you've been considering, I mean, just know that that is a possibility, that if they like their home, if they like where they're at, they probably will try to spread around a bit, but not like the old ones. Like, don't let the reputation of the old ones taint your view of these right here, because these are just such a great plant. And that is it for today's video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.